All right, everyone. So we are 21 minutes late. So for you all that are consistent and love watching us and that are normally here with us, we thank you so much for your commitment, for your dedication, for showing up. We're right here live. This is Youth Empowerment. My name is Nikki Martinez. My pronouns are she, her, we. I'm happy to be here. Arthur Soriano, who is the COO of the organization, unfortunately is feeling under the weather. So guess what? Lucky y'all, I'm here making it happen on Facebook Live for Youth Empowerment. The other thing I wanted to say is I want to definitely give our heart and our condolences and our sweet, speedy recovery prayers, positive energy and thoughts. The woman that was supposed to be on today, Gloriana, also known as Sweetie, someone I was incarcerated with for years and done a lot of time with and has been out advocating and has been out here being part of the transformative systems that we all would like to see. Please send prayers to her and her family. She was supposed to be here this morning. Unfortunately, something has happened and she wasn't able to make it. Shout out to Tuli. Thank you, Tuli, so much for letting me know, giving me a heads up. She is in the emergency room, but we don't believe that it's anything fatal. But at the same time, too, I don't want to put all her business out there. So just please send positive energy to Sweetie and a speedy recovery so that we can have her back, because her story is absolutely amazing and phenomenal. And so with that, I want to just share a quote, and it's, "The struggle you're in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow." And the most amazing part of that is, as we're talking about that, we have an amazing guest right now who's here, who's going to take it away. He's going to shine. He's going to blow you all away with his amazing personality. He's going to show you how great of a human being he is. We have had the honor and privilege of being able to work with him here at Youth Empowerment as a mentor. And so it's been an honor to get to know you. It's been a privilege to get to be able to work with you and to see you. And I'm excited. So with that being said, Joseph, I will hand it over to you. And why don't you just tell us how it all began, bro?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for having me here. Thank you. I'm glad to be on this team. So I'll start talking a little bit about myself. My name is Joseph Robinson. I grew up here in San Diego, born and raised. Mother's from San Diego, father's from TJ. And so I guess it really started when my first memory started when I was 4 years old. So there was some stuff that happened before that. So when I was 2 years old, my mom was a drug addict. She was on heroin, cocaine. She was shooting up a lot. My dad was the same, and used to run guns and drugs and all kinds of stuff. I don't know, but they ended up getting arrested and going to prison. And myself and my stepsister, we went into the system, foster care. And so at 2, my dad, I guess, had a crazy temper. He was just, I don't know, he was just off the wall. So no one wanted to take me in, as far as my mother's family or his family. And my sister ended up going one way, I went the other. I ended up going into the system. And like I said, the first memory I had was when I was 4. I had this lady, she was Mexican. I was living with this family. Her husband was Vietnamese. And I know I didn't look like him, but when you're a child, you think that that's your parents. You think that's your dad and mom. So automatically, I thought they were my mom and dad. But they weren't like the nicest people. They were a little bit abusive. They used to lock me in a room for some time, hit me with some just a little paddle here and there. But I still loved them. In my eyes, they were my family. So one day, some family just comes, picks me up. Like, so some family, the Robinsons, they came, or the Rollins, they came and just took me away. And so when you're 4 years old, you really don't know what's going on. I thought they were stealing me from my mom and dad. And so I just remember the craziest thing was, we were driving I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know who these people were. I was just sitting in the back seat, and forgive me, and it was raining. I remember that day it was raining, and we drive up to this place. Turns out to be, well, I'll tell you later, but we pull up and it's a drive-through, and there's like a roof, and all I see is some lady's face just staring at me through the window, and it looks scary to me. And ends up being my grandmother, who I would love to this day. God rest her soul. She passed away in her 90s, so that was, I mean, she lived her life. So she saw me become a man, so that was good. So with that family, um, I guess for them, they had one son, biological. She couldn't conceive, so they wanted like another child for their son, so that he could grow up with a sibling, and that's what ended up going through adoption. And so I have court documents that said that I was treated like a second class citizen. There were social workers that came and said I was treated like a second class citizen. I felt very isolated when I was living there. If you went into his room, he had big screen TV, the sound systems, brand new bunk beds. I had everything as leftovers. I had nothing on my walls. I had a black and white little TV, that antenna. I don't know what it was, but at least it was a TV. Some people don't even have TVs growing up. So, and the only toys I had were Legos. He had action figures and all this, and so, but yeah, it was like I didn't really exist there. I was there for his comfort and for his peace of mind for them. But I had a lot of behavioral issues. I would always get in fights at school. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I would look for the biggest kid on the playground and go fight him for I don't know why, but I remember there was this one, I don't know if he was Filipino or what, Hawaiian, I don't know, but I would go, and I remember one day he asked me, why you keep fighting me? And that's what I would do. And so I just remember them trying to take me to therapy, putting me on a lot of medication, and eventually it just didn't work. Um, I remember one day she just dragged me down the stairs by my hair. I was maybe like 5 or 6 years old, and I did something to tick them off, or I did something bad, and she dragged me down the stairs, threw me in the garage, and made me sleep there at night. But I woke up in my bed, so I knew they went in the bed and carried me back to my bed. And to this day, like, I talked to them since, and they still deny that they ever treated me any different than their son. So I moved on. They put me back up for adoption, and that's a good thing, because they couldn't take care of me. So my aunt, which were the Robinsons, which my last name right now, they said that wasn't right for them to put me up for adoption. They're like, if you're going to adopt a kid, you got to, adopt them, good and bad. It's like a marriage, right? And so they adopted me. I loved them. We had a great time. They had 3 older daughters, way older than me. I think 17 was the youngest. I really loved the father. And when I started having those behavioral issues, that's when, things started happening. They couldn't figure it out. They put me to therapy. And I don't know what happened. And I have to share this story because it's a scary thing that exists, is that there was a therapist who actually told him that I couldn't love, and that I was incapable of love. And so I don't know what radical type of therapy she was trained in, but she basically said, take everything from him. So they literally left me in a room. They took everything out, said I didn't deserve it, the bed, the mattress, everything. And no pillow, no nothing. They replaced everything. They even painted the walls a plain color, because I didn't deserve color, I guess. And so they literally put a bucket or a thermos to to piss and shit in. Excuse my language. But that's what they literally gave me. They didn't give me toilet paper. They didn't give me nothing. They just gave me a bucket to pee and poop in. They locked the door. They put an alarm on it. They bolted it. And they would only feed me peanut butter sandwiches. No jelly because I couldn't have sugar, no milk, no nothing. That was breakfast, lunch, and dinner, peanut butter sandwiches. That was it. And it happened for like 2 years. And the mom was pretty abusive. I remember she punched me in my face one time, made my nose bleed. And I was sitting there, and my foster dad, came in, and I just remember that night he yelling at her. And I felt truly loved. At that moment, I was like, man, this man loves me, right? Because I had a really good bond with him. Before all that crazy stuff happened, before they met that therapist, I had a great bond with my foster dad. Like, we played baseball. He played catch with me. I remember he had bum knees, and he would still play catch with me. He would take me batting, taught me hard work, because I would see him wake up every day at 2:00 in the morning, go deliver bread, come back. And so I loved him. Like, to this day, I have a lot of love for him. And every weekend we would go skiing on the boat. So I'd go knee boarding. The men would do their man stuff when the water was nice and calm. And then when everybody else in the world woke up and went on the lake, then I would go out there because there was too much. They like glass. That skiers like glass. So people who know the reference, they might know. And so that's the good side of what I did experience. Some good things. I learned a lot of hard work. I remember I loved baseball. I was really good at baseball, and I was a pitcher. And they were like, I wanted to do training. I wanted to train to be a better pitcher. And one of the things he did was say, you got to earn it. So he goes, I'll pay half. You work for the other half. And I was maybe like 10, 11 years old, and I was over there paving the driveway, repaving it, and yard work. And I never complained. So I always saw him work. I always worked, and I've always had that mentality where I'm never afraid to get my hands dirty or really work for what I have. And then going back to where I was at, they had me locked in that room. And then this is kind of funny, I guess. I love sweets. So that's part of the reason why this all happened. Like, I love sugar. And I would sneak a lot of cookies and sweets. And so that's how it all kind of started, I guess. And so when I was locked in the room, I found a way to use the pen cap to put on the door, because they took the knob to kind of twist those doors. And I remember you could just twist the pen cap, push the door, wait for a little budge, twist it, and eventually you could just work the door open. And I would climb. I was scared of heights, like insanely scared of heights. I still am. And so I would walk on the roof. I would wait. I had great hearing. I still have great hearing for some reason. And so I would wait to hear my sisters leave. I would wait for her to go out for a cigarette, because I knew when she would go out for a cigarette, it'd be at least 15, 20 minutes. So I would wait for all that to happen. I would open the window, and the door is locked and bolted and alarmed and everything. But they hadn't bolted the window. So I'd take the screen off. I'd walk across the balcony. I'd go through my sister's room. I'd have to lift the door up because I knew it would squeak. And it took me a couple of times to figure this whole thing out. I knew which steps squeaked, And then I went down there and I would just eat junk food. And that's all I would do. And then I would sneak back up, and I would just do that almost every night or whenever I could. And then one time I left a handful of candies on my sister's bed because the mom came in, and I got scared and I panicked. I was like, man, I can't get caught with this food. So I just put it on her bed, and I forgot about it, and I went back to my room. And anybody knows a waterbed is heated. So the next morning, all I hear is screaming. I wake up to scream. My sister's mad. Like, just, I don't know who. It has to be Joseph. Like, it has to be Joseph. And I'm like, oh crap. And then, so she's actually kind of going insane, because my foster parents are like, he can't get out. He's locked in the room. Like, we got a bolt. Like, he ain't getting out.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was me. And so I remember her just like going crazy for like a good hour or so. And then eventually they shut the window. But before I left, I remember working. I tried to run away. I almost would be working at taco shops in TJ right now if I would have
How
ran
long
away.
were you there, Joseph?
Probably like 4 years.
Wow.
4 years. Yeah, it was a good amount of time. I think from like 9 to 12, something like
Wow.
it was like 10 to 12, 9 to 12. They were my foster parents for a little bit, and then I got adopted. So, moving on from there, they just I was growing. I was 12 years old. I remember one day she just hit me. She just hit me, and no, I couldn't go to therapy. And therapy, as much as that lady was crazy and she made all that happen, that was my peace to be in that car for that short amount of time and listen to music. That was what I found solace in. And so when she said, "You're not gonna go," I lost it, right? Because it was my only time of peace. Because pretty much the entire day they took me out of public school. I literally was like a slave. So they would just make me work and do chores, and that's all I did. I didn't do anything else. Um, and so I literally ripped the door off its hinges. I didn't even know. I literally ripped the door off its hinges, and the look of fear on her face, I think she realized that, oh man, like we can't keep doing this. Like he's gonna grow up, and how's we gonna do this to a grown child? So they shipped me. So they would put me in these homes whenever they wanted to go on vacation or something. And so they had like a network of these people that had bolts and alarms and all this. The social work, the therapist lady, she had a network that they all did the same thing to their kids. And like it was nuts because like if I would go to one, I remember Crystal, she lived in Riverside. So they would send me there sometimes, and it'd be the same routine. Lock me in, lock it up, make me work all day, all night, and then back in my room and do it all over again. And then they had other places at me, same thing. And then I guess one day they got in the truck, and I remember counting the hours. It was like 7 hours. They didn't tell me nothing. They didn't acknowledge me. I remember going to a restaurant and then having a duffel. I looked in the back and I saw a duffel bag and my teddy bear. And they literally just did a hand-to-hand transaction with this guy, this Irish guy, in the middle of the Vineyards area, probably Sonoma County, probably. I'm guessing now that I'm a little smarter, but um, I was the only American there. Everyone else was from Russia, Cambodia, China, and it didn't last long. It didn't last long. He was abusive. I think he was abusive. So I ended up, without a word or anything like that, again, another 7-hour drive. This time I ended up on the footsteps of Polinsky. I was 12 years old. I met Polinsky. And I just remembered the one thing. I'm not going to cry because I'm just not going to cry today because I've cried other days. Is that
It's
I was
okay,
sitting
bro.
down. I was
It's
sitting
okay.
down having dinner. I remember I used to walk. It was very like kindergarten status. You'd have to walk in line and everything like that. So they would sit me there. So we went in there as a cafeteria, and I remember I finished my food, and then the staff looked at me and was like, "You want some more?" And I said, "What?" I'm like, "Real food," and that's real food to me. That cafeteria food was like luxury, right? From peanut butter sandwiches. And so I went up and got more. I just remember that was the happiest thing ever because I could finally eat. I gained so much weight, right? Like that first year or two, I became real chubby. Um, and then so I was the happiest. A lot of people when that were in foster care, when they think about Polinsky, they hate it. Uh, so many people I talked to that I've been in there with, they can't stand Polinsky. It was a savior for me. So for me, Polinsky's always been a good place to me because where I was at was a lot worse than what Polinsky offered. Polinsky because they're actually removed from their homes, from their families, whatever for reason, and then now they're separated from their family. They weren't really my family in that sense. So I love Polinsky. I still support Polinsky. I still know staff that are there, and I talk to them. And so I did good, but the kids there, I was very different. So I didn't know. So like the first few days I got beat up, and then one day my roommate came in. He was this big guy. He just protected me. I had an older kid. He just came in there. He didn't let no one mess with me. And that's how it was, because a lot of people saw how innocent I was. And so as I kept moving, people would just protect me and protect me and protect me. But and I never felt, I always wanted to kind of fit in, but I knew I wasn't a tough guy. I knew I wasn't tough. I knew I wasn't, these guys, they were tough. A lot of them were gangs. They got tattoos. I mean, it's crazy. They're kids, but they're all bigger than me. I was real tiny. Um, and then I got a growth spurt. I was like 15. I remember living in this group home, and then the kids were like, I cried. I went home and I was crying. I was like, I got bullied today. And my friend Alberto, he had one arm. All right. My best friend, he had one arm. He's over there defending me. I got two good working arms. He's over there defending me. And one day they were just like, you know what? You're done. We're done fighting your battles. No. So they beat me up until I learned how to fight. Like literally. But they were nice about it at first, because at first they put gloves on and everything. They weren't really, but
they were pillow fighting you at first, huh? And then they told you to man up.
Yeah. And they would like hit me. And I was like, I don't want to hit you. You're my friend, And then it was crazy, because eventually they were like, you got to learn how to fight. And so I said, okay, so we'll learn how to fight. And then I was like, can I smoke? Like not weed, it was cigarettes. They smoked cigarettes, but I thought it was weed. So they were smoking like buglers.
Yeah.
Right. I thought that was weed, because that's the only thing I knew. And then so when I smoked it, I thought I was supposed to be high. I was like, I don't feel, what am I supposed to feel? He's like, it's a cigarette, stupid. And then that's when I started ditching. My best friend Alberto, we started ditching, and then that was in 8th and 9th grade. And then we separated. Then our group home got shot at. I left. We had to leave. We had emergency care, and that's really when my life, like my attitude changed. I was a real innocent kid up until that moment. I worked hard. I did chores. No one wanted to do chores. All the kids didn't want to do chores because they were all little thugs, right? They're tough guys. So I'm over here doing chores, making $75 a week. I was a loan shark. I literally let them borrow $20, and I need my 25 back. That's how I was. Except Alberto. Alberto, he can give me 20 back. But any other kids, I'm getting interest. So they were in gangs, a couple of the guys. So the place ended up getting shot at. We ended up going to emergency care over in Hillcrest. NA something, I forgot what it was, New Alternatives. And that's when I just rebelled. Because I went from an abusive home to Polinsky. And then I was such a good kid that they ended up putting me in the lowest level of care. And in the lowest level of care, it's a home setting. It was a 2-story house. It wasn't crazy. It was just a really nice environment. No one was on you. It wasn't like an institution. It was like a family. It was like a home. Yeah. And when I went to the place in Hillcrest, institutionalized, it used to be an old mental hospital. So now you got magnetic doors. You can't sleep with your door shut. You have everything's open, and like it was just a lot for me. It was a lot for me to deal with, because I knew I didn't belong there. They talk to you like you're crazy. One time I can't believe they even allowed that. Was they put you in like a padded room, they restrain you, they chuck you in a room, and they just literally hold you there prisoner. And I'm like, I still don't think how that's legal. Like even to this day, like I don't know how they got away with that kind of stuff, because that causes more trauma than anything else. Yes. I'd rather take a kid outside and let him walk than shove him in a padded room with no light. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, crazy. I totally understand what you're saying. And I always have to learn and find my balance, that this is not my advocacy platform right here. So I concur with you. I high five you from right here, because I definitely have so much to say about that for sure. So I agree with you. You're so right.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I did that right.
Thank you. it was just, that's when my attitude just changed. I hated the system. I hated authority. I just despised everyone and everything. I blamed everyone for all my problems at that point because to me, I was a good kid. And so, obviously my behavior wasn't going to grant me more freedoms. So went to other high levels. And then it just, now I'm fighting. Now I'm in high school. Now I'm fighting. It was just, eventually I got to the places I needed to be. But then at that point, I was smoking, I was drinking, I was just fighting. I loved that lifestyle. It was just, whenever I didn't feel listening to rules. I mean, I remember one time I basically fought everybody in my group home.
Mhm.
It that's just what it was, Oh, you took my pizza. Okay. Bam, you getting punched in the face. My friend called me, hey, this guy lives there. Fight him for me. Okay, fine.
And you know what?
Stuff like that.
It's like, as you say that, the only thing that I think of and that comes to mind is just like we were having the conversation last night, is trying to find them coping skills from that unresolved trauma that's so pertinent that we haven't even been able to identify, them emotions that we haven't been able to identify, those feelings, those coping skills not being adequate enough to even muster up the knowledge to understand what's actually happening. And the only way we can handle things is what's going to be the quickest form of relief, you know?
Mhm.
That's exactly what I see, is all just unresolved trauma, hurt and pain, and just shattering and ripping and tearing of the soul and of the flesh. And ultimately what was deposited in that made that just deteriorate from the inside, and nobody's helping cultivate or nurture something that's healthy for you from the inside, you know? Yeah.
That's true. It's true. And when you're only 15, 16 years old, you don't know this kind of stuff. You're not mature enough. And so I remember uh, a good step I took in being rebellious was that they had me on medication. So they would give me like 800 milligrams of Seroquel, the highest legal dosage you can give a kid, because it was basically an adult serving. So they gave me the highest dosage of Seroquel, and I would sleep, and they would give it to me before school. So I would sleep the entire 1, 2, 3, 4 periods, and then everyone would have to wake me up. So I flunked two years of school, and I just stopped caring about school. That really had an influence on just me not caring, and that's when I started running away, doing my things. My friends were poor and everything like that, so we just were in the streets. Luckily, I never joined any gangs. Everyone has their own thing, but I always felt like a loner. So I never really joined. They would ask me, but I wouldn't, and I just wouldn't. I just was like, no, I'm okay. I hang out. I window shop.
I'll
You know,
kick it. I'll bless
you
you
know.
with my personality and presence. Huh?
But you know what's crazy is that and I didn't know this, but when you hang out and you got some huevos, you know what I'm saying? They like that. They appreciate that. But the second day you turn them down on that offer, it's a slap in their face. It's like, bro, you're not good enough for us.
Yeah.
And I had so many of those moments where I'll be like, dang, I need to leave. Like things is about to get crazy. So I just remember there's a couple moments where I'm like, I got to go. I'm like, I'm about to go smoke a cigarette. I've never seen them cats again. But and then so I was just that was just basically my life. And then when I was 17, a big change was I was dating my wife at the time. My wife, I think they can see the picture in the back. That's my wife. She follows me everywhere.
That's right.
But these guys, they were like, it was a long story short. We used to be cool. Something happened. We weren't cool. They started calling saying they're going to kill and rape my woman, and things had to happen. And I ended up going to jail. As I was day before my 18th birthday. Day before I
Wow.
turned 18, I went to meet these guys. Whatever. Luckily, I'm standing, so that's all I know. I was the last one standing. So I went. Shoot, they had helicopters on me. I didn't know what to do. I was like, called my girl. I was like, come pick me up. They were following me. I was like, whatever. I called the cops. I was like, hey, come get me. I'm right here. I was like, I'm right here. Whoop, done. Cop was the coolest cop I've ever met. He was like, I told him what happened. He was like, I would have done the same thing. And literally only charged me for having a bat. That's it, a billy club.
Wow.
Didn't charge me for nothing else. DA was like, he's a menace to society. We want to lock him up. This, and that. And like he's not good. He doesn't deserve to be free. Judge was like, my officer is the first one on the scene, and if that's what he charges him with, then I trust his judgment.
Wow.
If he felt in it that in his judgment to charge him with something else, he would have, but he didn't. And so they didn't know where to release me because I had nowhere to go because I had no family, no kid, nothing. So he was like, I can't release you because that's irresponsible of me. You know, how am I going to release you to nowhere? No money, no house, no nothing, no job. He goes, so I'm in a bad spot. He goes, I don't want to keep you locked up, but I can't release you. So what are we going to do? No social workers came. No one, I was in there for a few months. No one came to check on me. I was still a guardian of the state, a ward of the court. So legally they should have advocated for me, but they never showed up. So my wife's mother-in-law took me in. She's like, Your Honor, I'll take it. And so they released me. They finally released me. I got in trouble. I still went to jail, county jail. Did the same thing again when I got out. Went back to county jail. I think I made like 3 trips. I think I made like 3 trips to county jail. Then I was like, you know what? Your Honor, I remember they were like, I wrote the judge and one of the guys. I don't know why I listen to these guys in jail. He's like, hey, out in there, you want to go to the military. I was like, why? He goes, up. I was like, nah. I was like, all right, cool. You know, very last stance, you know. Bam, I put it in there. And I can write. Let me tell you this. I can write. I have I'm a very artistic writer. I love poetry. I love short stories. So I can write. Okay. And so dude ate it up. He ate up. The judge ate it up. I was serious about everything except the military. Right? I was 100% serious. The thing that he wanted was, he was like, look, this is not the old way of life. I can't order you to go to the military. That's illegal. This is not the olden times, right? He goes, but what I can do is I can release you on your own reconnaissance and you can go do the work and come back and show me proof that you actually talked to these people. And he goes, I can't order you, but if you, you're going to be, you can go out there. So I said, okay. He said, you could either be a man of your word. So I ended up coming back. He says, and the last thing he said to me was like, you either be a man of your word, or you're going to walk out there and just laugh and say, I got him. I got over on him. Uh-huh. But I hope you be a man of your word. Yeah. My crazy self signed up for the Marine Corps. I signed up. I signed up.
Why not?
I said, why not? He pumped me up. You know, don't test me. Right. You know, I want to do it. I'll do it. Watch, I'll do it.
He called you out. He challenged you.
He challenged me, and I took it up. And so it was funny because I was with my wife at the time, my girlfriend, my wife, and I was like, which one do we pick? Navy, ugly uniforms. I'm sorry if it offends anyone. All right?
Wow.
I'm sorry.
You can't just be disrespecting branches on here now.
But everybody knows the Marines don't care about all that stuff. So the Army, I was like, nah. I was like, Navy, I was like, ugliest uniforms. Air Force didn't want nothing to do with me. Everyone who knows Air Force knows they don't play because I told them I had a felony at the time.
And they said we had a quota, huh?
They just get out. Don't even waste our time. And Navy, no, never walked in there, never walked in the Air Force. It was straight. I was like, the Marine Corps is the only one that's going to do something for me. So I went in the Marine Corps, told them I had 1 felony because the judge had reduced it, the other felony.
Wow.
And so to help me, and he didn't put me on probation either. He just got me out and I was on 0 probation.
Dang, you got good juju. Dang. What?
It's the gift of gab. And so I got in and I swore in. I did my time, and I loved it. It was a great time in my life. learned a lot of discipline, met a lot of good people I still talk to this day. But I wasn't ready. Like you said, I had all that unresolved trauma, you know, and yeah, I did my time. I got my good cookie medal and everything like that, but I became an alcoholic. Um, you know, a little bit resentful here and there. I wasn't a good husband. I wasn't a good I wasn't a good friend for people. I was just not I was an ugly person still. And so I ended up going to jail, catching a case, getting out, and then catching another case. And they were like, "You're going to prison." And I was still in the military. I was still in the military, and the military said, "Look, just sign this paper and just we'll leave you alone. We ain't got time for all this."
Yeah.
And I was literally 1 month away from getting a good, honorable discharge.
Wow.
1 month away. And I messed it up like a dummy. So now I lost my VA benefits. I lost all my benefits that I could have had.
Wow.
And so I signed my little paperwork, went to prison. It was just crazy. So I spent a year and a half in prison because all the little times I've been locked up and in trouble, they put me at high risk. So they put me to level 3 prison. I'm like, man, I'm short timing it, and these guys are all doing 10, 15 years. You know, I was just like, man, you know, it was just crazy. And so I didn't know what to expect. You know, I don't believe in movies like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you can watch movies all you want, but people were always schooling you. You know what I'm saying? So luckily, I had some good people to school me and tell me what to do. And so I went in there, did my time, but I just remember just how depressed I was. And it only happened for maybe a day, maybe 2 days, but it was just like I literally knew that I was not free. Like when they say prison and they say prisoner, it means something. Like this is not county jail. This is not short timing it. And even a year and a half is short timing. But it's not. A lot of people play around with county jail. Oh, it's just county. I'll just do a bullet real quick, booty boop. But you know, when you're in prison, it's different. So I pray for the people that have done a lot of time. You know, for what it did to me in that year and a half, I knew that I said, man, this for that one day, I was just like, man, this sucks. Like I can't leave, regardless of what happens, what I do, what I say, scream, whatever. Nothing is going to change the fact that I am not walking out that door, and that door is only going to open when someone opens it. I'm going to get fed when someone feeds me. I'm going to shower when someone says I can shower. And it just hit hard. And I was like, this ain't the life for me. I said, this ain't the life for me. So when I got out, I was doing stuff. I had to survive. You know, it was just nuts. Like it was just nuts. You know, I was living in, you know, the deep of the hood. People walking around with guns and just all tweaked out. It was just crazy. So I was just trying to find my way back. And then one day, like some guy goes, go to school. He goes, I went to school, and these guys are all like gangsters, right? I'm just a wannabe. You know what I'm saying? I'm walking around. You know, I'm an observer. But these guys were like, look, man, it's a system. You can go in there, get $6 grand, and just take it. I was like, okay, so I did it. But I didn't run off with the money. I went to school. I actually signed up for the classes. I went to the classes, and I got a 4.0 my first semester. It was American U.S. history in a Black perspective, and then peace studies. And I remember getting a 4.0, and I loved it. I love my 2 professors, Professor Kuban. You know, she's a peace studies. She's Dr. Kuban now, but she's a beautiful person. And Darius, Professor Darius, he's a great history professor, great, you know, activist. He helps in this community. And so I was like, okay, they're gonna pay me. They give me the Pell Grant, and I can get money for going to school, and I don't have to hustle and I do nothing crazy. I said, okay. So when they gave me more money, again, more money, and I just did that until I got my associates. I had no purpose. I just wanted the money, right? And I graduated, and I was like, dang, I got to go to university. So I was like, let me transfer. So I was transferring. I tried to go to state. They said no. I forgot to fill out a piece of paper. And then San Marcos hit me up. And I don't know if anyone here knows ACE Scholars, but ACE Scholars is the organization on Cal State San Marcos that helps former foster youth. That's specifically all they do. And so they helped me. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have gone to the university because I didn't have my math courses done or anything, and they got me waivers. I got in, and the same thing happened. I got a 4.0 my first semester. I graduated with a 3. I graduated cum laude. Cum laude? I got something like that. And I graduated with honors. I'm looking for my degree. I'm like, where's my degree at? So I was like, so I graduated with honors, and I was like, okay, I'm not done. Like, so let me go for my master's. So I got accepted to go to San Diego State, and bam, I was at San Diego State. I was very resentful of San Diego State for the longest because they denied me, but they accepted me. I got my master's in counseling and education with a concentration in counseling with a certificate in trauma-informed care and mental health recovery, which is right up my alley because I love communication. And I said, okay, I graduated. I had little jobs here and there. I interned at nonprofits, but I still really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was like, okay. I started working for another nonprofit here, helping former foster youth, working as an associate director. And that was fun, but I wanted to pursue my doctorate. And I couldn't pursue my doctorate within that company because it was just too demanding. So I decided to leave. And I got accepted to the National University Doctorate Program for Innovational Leadership, and that's where I'm at right now. And good news, I just got a 97% for my first class, so I completed it, 97%.
Is that the paper you were stressing about yesterday?
Yes.
Yes. What?
Was
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so that was really cool. And statistics for foster youth, I'm going to speak as if you don't know, is that, 50% drop out of high school, 50%, end up homeless, 2% get a bachelor's, 5% get a bachelor's degree, 2% of that gets a master's degree. And who knows, it's not even a percentage that gets a doctorate. I haven't got it yet, but I'm working hard for it. But it wouldn't have been possible without all the support that I've had all these years. I've been a part of a lot of scholarship opportunities. I'm real big in joining scholarships and communities and having those. I did a lot of research. I just want to give some positive some notes right now is that I've done a lot of research on turning points and self-efficacy, and how turning points are basically just moments in people's lives, and it doesn't have to be someone super significant. It just has to be an encounter makes a significant change in that person. And for me, when I was at one of the darkest times, are we good on time?
Yeah.
Okay. One of my darkest times, I was at a facility down in Chula Vista. They had 3 gates. I wasn't running away from that one. I just gave up. I was like, okay, Joseph, it's time to program. You know what I'm saying? Get with the program. Shut up. So I did it. And I met a guy. He was he graduated from Princeton. He was an Ivy League graduate, smart guy, and he was always reading. He always made his own puzzles. But he would give me books. He gave me, my first book that he ever gave me was Sigmund Freud and Civilization and Its Discontent. I still haven't even finished that book.
Wow.
But I mean, as a 16-year-old kid, that's what he gave me. And I was like 2 sentences in, I'm like, what is this? He's like, here's a dictionary, figure it out. and, and the first word that I ever ran across that I couldn't understand was facade. And I ended up learning what that was. So, but it was just crazy. He really was, he made me write. I've always loved writing, but he would annotate all my writing. So I would write a short story it started off at 3, then a 5, then a 7, then a 11. Then I think I got up to like 20 something pages. I would write different short stories about my life, you know, little fiction, little non-fictions, you know,
Yeah.
mixed truths. And I would just write. I wrote like 40 something poems. I mean, I just was writing. And I just remember listening to Aquid. I don't know anyone knows Aquid, but I just remember that some songs were just pumping me up. I'd just be listening and I'd just be typing at the school, and he would come back red. I go back, fix it.
Wow.
You know, people like that. You know, people like that. I learned about, you know, revolutionaries and fighting for your rights and the Zapatista movement. And so, you know, a lot of these things influence me to do what I'm doing today. Is, you know, one of them is giving back to the community. You know, I've always wanted to give back because I guess when you grow up alone and you grow up through a lot of abuse, you know, you're searching for that love, and you got a lot of love to give because we didn't. When you're abused for so many years, you're not even allowed to love because you can't love them because they won't accept that love. So, you know, I still have all this love inside. I just couldn't give it out, right? So I think, you know, that's some philosophy right there. You know, yeah, there you go. You know,
You sprinkling us with something, huh?
The hurt don't let you give, so you got a lot to give later. So
yeah, true though.
So I was going for my doctor, and I was like, what do I want to do? Right. And I've always wanted to work with the juvenile system. I've always, and I was trying to become a teacher, and my background wouldn't let me. I tried to work. I mean, even I have a teacher. He works for the JCCS schools back when they used to be called JCCS schools, and he made another big impact in my life. He was this Armenian. He was like like the Godfather. And I remember all those little bad kids were over there. And, you know, he would take us to go learn judo. He would take us to go play baseball. Like, and we would play bones. We just played bones at lunch, and he would bet us for lunch. And he was ruthless. If you lost, you're going to pay him lunch. You're going to get him lunch. So I remember he was a big influence in what I did. I was like, what do I do? And he goes, you're not going to make it. He goes, you're not going to graduate. He goes, just get your GED and work. Because I told him I didn't have a family. I didn't have nothing. He's like, that was the best advice anyone has ever given me, was don't finish high school, but get your GED. And so I ended up doing that. But back to now, you know, why I want to give back is just, you know, people like that, him working in those court schools really influenced me. And I was trying to get a job with him. He was like, hey, heck yeah, I want you in my classroom. But I got denied. And then, you know, so I was like, I need to find an alternative route. And I'm part of, they're called Fostering Opportunities. It's a scholarship. They help former foster youth. It's a small organization, nonprofit. These are the sweetest ladies you'll ever meet in their life. They're all retired teachers. Rest in peace, Katie. She's the founder. Jerry and Debbie. You know, so they raise enough money for like 10 students, but they honestly, they don't get paid. It's just straight from their heart, like selfless. When I say selfless, they are the selfless group of women that I've ever met, and they're sweet ladies. And so we always do these luncheons, and one day I'm at the luncheon, and some woman named Tyra was there. I never met her before in my life. And I was like, but I know this. I've been going there for years. I've been like 5-6 years. So I know when new people are showing up. So I'm like, okay. So I was talking a little bit about my story, and I was telling her my struggles in getting into certain jobs because of my background. And she goes, hey, I'm a retired probation officer. I know a couple people with felons that are doing good things in the community. I know 2 people, Reginald and Washington, right? Reginald Washington. Yep. And then Arthur Soriano. Yeah. And she goes, I know these 2 people. She goes, I'll reach out to them. I said, okay. And she goes, no promises or nothing, but I know these 2 people, they're real people. they got backgrounds, but they're doing really good things in the community. So I said, okay, I'll give it. I mean, I wasn't expecting anything. She came out of nowhere and said, let me talk to you after we exchanged numbers. We started texting. And then next thing you know, she's like, have they called you? Have they called you? I was like, no, 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 you know. And then one day, you know, I get a call from Martha. I'm like, well, you know, he's like, what? We're talking a little bit. And he was like, well, you know, what do you want? I was like, I don't know what I want. What do you mean what I want? You know what I'm saying? You know, this just fell in my lap. I don't know, you know, I don't know what to do. Because, you know, I don't know about jobs. I can't, how, you know, me with my background, I can't just sit there. I want a job, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know. For me, my idea, and he's done it too. He volunteered for 4 years before he even started getting. So I was in the same boat. I was like, I'll volunteer until I get the recognition that I deserve.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, I got a job, you know, 20 hours a week or some. And as a mentor, and I'm like, he's like, what do you think about it? I said, well, if you're gonna offer it, then yeah, I'll take it, you know, since you're offering. And so he's like, okay, you know, you let me, you know. So we ended up meeting along really well. I came in the office, Nikki met me. And so it was like a whole waiting list. But then I just get a text that says, hey man, congratulations. I said, okay, cool. And this is the only job I've ever had that required my background. So, you know, it was just so many blessings and blessings that just, you know, my life went through so many routes. You know, it may have started very negative, you know, beyond my control. I couldn't control that my parents were on drugs. I couldn't control that I was in abusive foster homes. I couldn't control, you know, being a lot of things, but I was in control of my actions, right? And now that I'm older, I understand that, right? So, you know, these kids that we're helping, they're very intelligent. They're very intelligent. I was very intelligent at a young age. And even though I may have been that kid to be like, shut up, be quiet, leave me alone, or I don't give a crap, I still listened. And those things still sat in my head, right? So it may have not, they may have wanted me to change then and now, but I changed based on those conversations, based on those interactions. And so, you know, we hope doing what we're doing that, yeah, well, they'll change now, right? We hope that they'll change now, but it might become, like I said, those turning points where they might not change right now, but that there's going to be a moment in their life where they're going to be like, that moment is when it all changed. And so when I came to work here, you know, I don't come with a negative mindset, but I also don't come in the mindset that everyone is going to do as we expect them to do, because everyone learns at different stages of life. I didn't change my life until I was 25 years old. But look where I'm at now. I'm going for my doctorate. You know, I'm giving back to the community. I'm trying to give back the same things that I was given at a young age. So, you know, it's a real good blessing to be here, to talk to everybody. I'm excited. Nick is a great person. Arthur, the whole team is there. It's just wonderful. It was just crazy, the environment when I walked in. I was like, I don't know, but this is too cool, you know.
No,
But
we're just so happy to have you, bro, and the connection that you're able to make. And I love it. And you're so right when you're hitting it on point, because it's like, we can't have an expectation, right? It's not our place to have an expectation where people end up becoming and where they end up going when it's their time to live their own lives. It's their process. But what we do have is we take care and we take our initiative to do our responsibility. And that's to deposit anything and everything that we have to give to them youth. And that's what we do. You know, I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter if they got earplugs in. It don't matter if we're just throwing it out there and we're planting them seeds. Let it land in their lap. Let it land up under their shoe. Maybe they'll take that shoe off 20 years from now, pick it up, look at it and be like, dang, that's where I got that from. You know, it's as long as we're doing our role and our responsibility and making sure that we're depositing the best things that we can possibly deposit into these youth to help nurture and at least show them, like you said, you know, the things that you went through in your life. No, that wasn't anything you warranted. That wasn't anything that you deserved. But I love how you said every interaction is valuable. It's important. That could potentially be somebody's turning point. And I feel like there's a lot of times where I always say, like, it's our responsibility just as human beings out here in society. And I know for me, as somebody that's not even supposed to be out in society for another 20 years, the least I can do is just let people know how amazing they are and how grateful I am to be in their presence, that I'm not locked up in a cell, that I'm not in a shoe, I'm not doing another shoe term, that I actually have the opportunity to be free. And with that, I can give something good to somebody, whether I'm feeling it or not. You know, I got to muster it up sometimes, but I love how you said that with the turning points, because those are so relevant and they're so valid, and our interactions are so important. So I love that you are a part of our team, bro. Like, how you have no idea. Like, I love that you are a part of our team. If you could leave with a message, if you could give out a message, what would be your message to everybody today?
Oh, wow.
Come on, Mr. Philosopher.
There's a quote. I won't say who it's from, but the person's debatable. To be a revolutionary, and this is a bad translation, so forgive me. A true revolutionary is someone who feels injustice that is done on anyone, anywhere.
Yes.
So if you feel it in your heart to support those people that are unjust, that's a true revolutionary. It's someone who has that love in them, regardless of who they are or where they're at.
Ooh,
Any injustice is injustice.
Yes, that got me emotional. What? Now quit it out. Sheesh. Well, we definitely want to thank everybody for taking this time and spending it with us. I want to give another really strong prayer request to Sweet Tea's family. To Sweet Tea, I hope you have a speedily recovery. Get at me as soon as you get well. I want to thank everybody for showing up today. Joseph, I want to thank you for being just an amazing human being, for showing up when we, in our time of need, you just was like, we called you. You were like, I'm there. Don't what? Give me 5 minutes. I'm on. Let me get this bang real quick and I'm here. So just thank you so much for being you. You know what I mean? Thank you for being you. Appreciate you so much. So happy to have you as a part of this team. Excited to see what it is that you're going to deposit. And then we also know what we get, and what we give is what we get, right? So being able to reciprocate that to the community, you only can keep what you have by giving it away. And that's what we're doing constantly. So thank you so much with that. For everybody that follows us, thank you for following us. If you don't follow us, please follow us. We still, you can make a donation by all means for our people that are transitioning back into society. They still need IDs, they still need birth certificates, they need stability, they need placement. So any type of donations for our youth you would like to make, by all means, please feel free to visit our website and make those donations. Just want to say thank you all so much for showing up. Thank you for your support. Thank you for loving our people and elevating the voices of the system impacted and the formerly incarcerated individuals. And just, we love y'all. Thank you so much.